To the start, albeit one day late, to the start of Masechtas Temura, with the help of Hashem. We're once again sponsored by the Fisher family, Lilu Nishmas, Basia Bas Robert, and Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, that the Neshama should have an Aliyah. We're also sponsored Lilu Nishmas David ben Chaim, for Shalem Rafael Yom Moshe Mechai Sari Yaakov ben Bas Yaleah, for the schus of Avram ben Yom Benish ben Malki Yudis and family. We're sponsored by Yoel Klugman and family. We're sponsored for Shalem for Victor Arya ben Rivka in the Bas Chai Sarah, Moshe Meir ben Eskefadah, Yitzhak ben Tzion Bedusha, Rivka Bas Shiva Leah, Chana Bas Shashabina, Aaron ben Sarah, Nachman Yaakov ben Sarah, Rachel Leah Bas Rivka, Zev ben Chai Etel, Chai Etel, and Meir ben Chai Sarah. They should have a refuah shalema b'sei shachar Yisrael. Now, Temura is an aveira. You're not supposed to exchange karbonos. You're not supposed to say zeh tachas zeh, this instead of this, even if you exchange it with a better one. That's halacha that you're not supposed to exchange. That's halacha. But if you do, the new one is kaidish, and the old one is also kaidish. So it's an aveira. You get malchus for it, but it is effective. So the Mishna tells us, hakol mamirim, everybody could do a temura, whatever gender. Echad anoshim, echad noshim, whether a man, whether a woman. Loisha odem rashi lahamer, like I explained, not that you're allowed to effect such an exchange. Elisheim heimer mumer, if you did it, it's effective. The seifeg esarbon, and you get malchus. Hakahanim memirin eshelahem. Kayin, if he has his own carbon, let's say he offered a shlamim of his own, a taida of his own, so he could effect the temur with his own carbon. If Shelley brings a carbon, he could affect the temura of his carbon. But when a kayin does the avoda on Shelley's carbon, the kahanim can't affect the temura, loy b'chatas, loy b'asham, not with a sin offering, not with a guilt offering, loy b'bachar, and not with a firstborn. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri now poses a question. Why can't you affect the Bechar? Belongs to the Kayin. Why can't you affect the Temura with the Bechar? So Rabbi Kiva says, well, we make a comparison. Amar Rabbi Kiva, Chatas v'Ashin Matanu l'Kayin. The sin offering and the guilt offering is a gift to the Kayin. B'Bechar Matanu l'Kayin. Ma'achatas v'Ashin, the sin offering and the guilt offering, ain't mamirim, but you can't affect it in exchange. Afa b'char lo yimrana bay. So b'char you could also not affect the exchange. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says it's not a good comparison. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, mali ein meimer b'chatas v'Ashin. You know why you can't affect the exchange by a sin offering and guilt offering? She'ein zochin b'hem b'chayein, because it doesn't belong to the kain in their lifetime. I mean, I know the kain gets the meat afterwards, but it doesn't belong to him in his lifetime. It belongs to the owner that sinned. Time of a bechar, but a bechar is different. Shezachan by bechaya, that the kain has when it's alive. So maybe he should be able to affect the temura. So now Rabbi Kiva says a different reason. Amalei Rabbi Kiva b'alei kvar nemar v'hayahu usmarasa yeh kadosh. Remember, I told you that a feature of the temura is, even though Berish said zeh tachas zeh, this should be instead of this, the din is that they both remain holy. The original animal and the one that he's exchanging. Says Rabbi Kiva, it compares the original animal to the temura. Now, Heicham Kedusha Chalalav, where does Kedusha devolve upon it. In other words, when the original carbon, where does the kedusha devolve upon it? The Beis Habolim. Shelley brings a carbon, so the kedusha devolved upon it in Shelley's house. Af Temura, so the only time you could infect an exchange is where the kedusha devolved upon it in the Beis Bailim. Af Temura bebeis Bailim. But by a Bechar, if the Kohen wants to effect a Temura on the Bechar, that kedusha didn't devolve by the Kohen. Right? The Bechar was born to Dr. Black and his flock. So it didn't devolve upon it by the Beis Bailim. So therefore it's not analogous, and you cannot affect the Temura. Now next Mishnah tells us, Memirin min abokar ala tzayin. You could effect exchange from cattle to tzayin. Now literally we always translate tzayin as sheep, but that's not its real interpretation. Tzayin is really flock, because the word tzayin incorporates both sheep and goats. So you could effect an exchange from cattle onto sheep and goats, and sheep and goats ala bakar. Not only that, min akfosim ala izim, you could exchange sheep and goats, min izim ala akfosim, or from goats onto sheep. Min zacharim ala nekevis, from males onto females, and min nekevis ala zacharim. Min atmimim al bali mumim, you could effect the exchange from tmimim al bali mumim, umi bali mumim and blemished animals ala tmimim. Now, this we have to know that this is an asterisk. This is an asterisk. Shelley can't effect an exchange from a balmum that he was makdish, because if you dedicate a balmum, it doesn't get kedushas haguf. It only gets kedushas damin, and then you wouldn't be able to effect an exchange. You could only effect exchange from kedushas haguf. But here it's talking, as the Mishna will explain, where Shelley was makdish the animal when it was unblemished, and then it became blemished. So it already had kedushas haguf. So then you could do it mebalimuman ala tmimim. Shenemar, it says lo yachlifenu, you shouldn't switch it. V'lo yomeroisa, you shouldn't exchange it. Toiv bara, even good for bad, or rabba toiv, or bad for good. Ezel toiv bara, what's good for bad? It's talking about balimubim. Shekodam hekdeshin es muman, where Shelley was makdish at first, so it got a kedushas haguf because it was a tamim, and then it got a mum. Now, mimirin echad b'shnayim, you could exchange one for two, or shnayim be'echad, or two for one, or echad b'meya, one for 100, or meya be'echad, or 100 for one. So if Shimon says, no. This is only straight exchange, one for one. Shimon ayim mimirin ela echad be'echad, one for one. Shenem abahayahu usmurasa. It and its exchange. Mahu miyuchid, just like it, the original animal, is alone, so also the exchange is also afterasa yuchedes is one. Okay, it's really wonderful to come back and see all of you. Again, thank you, Shelley, for saving the day. I know Ora does her magic in the background, so we want to thank Shelley's daughter, Ora, as well. You know, it's always good to see once in a while. I mean, it should only be for gesunte reasons, but it's good to see once in a while some old Torah, that the old Torah is good too. We want to thank you all for coming, and have a good Shabbos.